Imagine a morning where the world feels strangely quiet. No vasing, no chirping, no movement in the air. At first, it feels peaceful, then unsettling, and then terrifying. Every insect on Earth is gone. Not dying, not hiding, gone. Flies, bees, ants, butterflies, beetles, mosquitoes, termites, all erased at once. Trillions of living organisms vanish in a single moment, removing one of the oldest and most fundamental forms of life on the planet. The immediate visual change is subtle. Cities still stand. Forests are still green. Fields still stretch across the land. But within hours, the first cracks begin to show. Pollination collapses almost instantly. Insects were responsible for pollinating the majority of flowering plants on Earth. Bees alone supported a massive portion of global agriculture. Without them, crops fail silently. Fields bloom, but produce nothing. Fruit trees flower beautifully, and then bear no fruit. Farmers are confused at first, then panicked. Harvests shrink dramatically within a single growing season. Food shortages begin quietly, then accelerate. Wild plants suffer the same fate. Meadows stop regenerating. Forest undergrowth thins. Seed production collapses. Plants that relied on insects for reproduction begin to disappear generation by generation. The food chain breaks from the bottom up. Birds are hit first. Insect-eating species lose their primary food source overnight. Nests are abandoned. Entire bird populations collapse within weeks. Frogs, reptiles, and small mammals follow soon after. Silence spreads across landscapes that were once alive with sound. Decomposition slows dramatically. Insects once consumed dead plants, animals, and waste. Without them, organic matter accumulates everywhere. Forest floors fill with rotting debris. Carcasses linger. Nutrients stop cycling efficiently back into the soil. The land begins to suffocate under its own decay. Soil health deteriorates rapidly. Insects like beetles and ants once aerated the ground, allowing water and oxygen to penetrate. Without them, soil becomes compacted and lifeless. Rain runs off instead of soaking in. Erosion increases. Farmland becomes harder to work and less productive. Agriculture enters crisis. Farmers attempt manual pollination, but it is slow, expensive, and ineffective at scale. Food prices surge. Entire crops become economically impossible to grow. Global food diversity shrinks as only a few wind-pollinated plants survive. Livestock farming suffers next. Without insects, feed crops decline. Manure piles grow uncontrollably without insects to break them down. Disease spreads more easily in stagnant environments. Meat and dairy prices rise sharply. Ecosystems unravel further. Forests begin to thin. Grasslands degrade. Rivers clog with organic waste that would have once been processed by insect life. Water quality declines. Algae blooms increase in stagnant systems, further damaging aquatic life. Ironically, pests are gone, but so are the systems that control balance. Without insects, nature loses its smallest engineers. Everything slows, clogs, and breaks. Human health begins to suffer in unexpected ways. Waste accumulates. Sanitation becomes more difficult. Disease patterns shift. While insect-borne illnesses initially drop, new health risks emerge from decaying environments and collapsing food systems. Cities feel the change too. Trash decomposes slowly. Green spaces lose vitality. Urban ecosystems collapse just as rural ones do. The absence of insects removes an invisible workforce that humanity never acknowledged. Psychologically, people struggle to process the loss. Insects were everywhere, always present, often ignored. Their absence feels unnatural, like missing background noise. Children grow up without ever seeing a butterfly or hearing the hum of summer. Scientists race to understand the damage. Models fail to predict the speed of collapse. What was once considered a theoretical risk becomes a global emergency. The conclusion becomes unavoidable. Insects were never optional. They were the foundation beneath the foundation. And with their disappearance, The living systems of Earth begin to fail faster than anyone imagined. This is only the beginning of what happens when all insects disappear. As months turn into years, the disappearance of insects pushes the planet past a point of recovery. What began as a quiet ecological shock becomes a full systemic collapse affecting every layer of life on Earth. Agriculture continues to deteriorate. With pollinators gone, global crop yields fall year after year. Manual and mechanical pollination methods are introduced, but they are slow, expensive, and limited. Only wealthy regions can afford them, and even there they cover only a fraction of former production. Many fruits, vegetables, and nuts disappear entirely from the human diet. Food diversity collapses. Hunger spreads unevenly at first, then globally. Developing regions are hit hardest, but no country is spared. Reliance on a narrow range of wind-pollinated crops increases. Malnutrition rises as diets lose essential nutrients. Global food systems become fragile and unstable, vulnerable to even minor disruptions. Natural ecosystems continue to unravel. Without insects, many plant species fail to reproduce and gradually vanish. Forests lose younger generations of trees. Grasslands thin out. Landscapes become simpler, poorer, and less resilient. Biodiversity declines at an accelerating rate. Soil degradation becomes severe. Without insects to aerate and recycle organic matter, soil loses structure and fertility. Microbial life suffers. Nutrient cycles slow dramatically. Farmland becomes dependent on artificial fertilizers, which further damage long-term soil health. Erosion increases, turning once productive land into dust. Decomposition nearly stops in some regions. Leaves, dead plants, and animal remains accumulate faster than bacteria alone can process them. Forest floors choke under layers of organic waste. The smell of decay becomes common. Disease risks increase as stagnant matter provides breeding grounds for harmful microbes. Freshwater systems deteriorate. Insects once played a key role in maintaining water quality by processing organic material and supporting food chains. Without them, rivers and lakes become clogged with debris and algae. Oxygen levels drop. Aquatic ecosystems suffer massive losses even beyond those already caused by collapsing food webs. Bird populations continue to crash. Entire species disappear. The skies grow empty. Amphibians and reptiles decline further. Mammals that depended indirectly on insect-supported ecosystems follow. The loss spreads outward in waves, affecting even species that never ate insects directly. Human health faces new challenges. While insect-borne diseases remain absent, sanitation problems grow. Waste management becomes harder without natural decomposers. Pathogens thrive in decaying environments. New disease patterns emerge, driven by environmental collapse rather than insects. Economies strain under constant pressure. Agriculture, forestry, and fisheries shrink. Rural livelihoods disappear. Food prices remain high and volatile. Governments struggle to maintain stability as basic resources become unreliable. Migration increases as people leave degraded land in search of viable regions. Technological solutions expand, but fail to scale. Artificial pollination, controlled environments, and sealed agricultural systems provide limited relief. They require massive energy inputs and constant maintenance. Only a small portion of humanity benefits from them. Inequality deepens sharply. Culturally, humanity changes its relationship with nature. Insects become symbols of a lost world. Creatures once dismissed as pests, now remembered as essential. Museums, textbooks, and recordings attempt to preserve their memory. Children learn about insects as historical organisms, not living ones. Psychologically, the absence reshapes how people see life itself. The natural world feels static and fragile. Seasonal rhythms weaken. Spring loses its meaning without pollinators. Summer lacks its sound. The planet feels quieter, emptier, and less alive. Over decades, Earth settles into a diminished state. Life continues, but it reduced complexity. Ecosystems become simpler and less productive. Recovery becomes impossible without the return of insects, a return that no technology can achieve. The final realization becomes clear and unavoidable. Insects were not background life. They were the machinery that kept the living world running. Without them, Earth does not collapse instantly. It collapses slowly, relentlessly, and permanently. Humanity survives, but the planet that supports that survival becomes poorer, weaker, and far less alive than before.